All right, let's set the scene. Just imagine this for a second. It's the conference finals, game 7, clock ticking down, we're under 10 seconds.
The biggest moment.
The absolute biggest. It's a 1 or 2 point game, and you can just see the opposing coach on the sideline. He's frantic, right? He's desperately shouting, trying to get one last defensive play call into his team's head.
Yep. And then it happens.
Everything just slows down, the ball swings, and it ends up in the hands of Luka Dončić maybe 28 feet out, and he's not sprinting, he's not even stressed, he's like casually walking toward the defense.
Maybe even with a little grin. A terrifying little grin.
Exactly. And that right there, that casual walk, that's the moment.
That's the moment the dread sets in. It's not laziness. It's this immediate sinking realization for everybody watching, the defender, the coach, the fans, that whatever brilliant strategy they cooked up is completely and totally worthless.
You just know.
You know you're about to lose.
Yeah.
Instantly.
It's got to be the highest compliment in sports, right?
Boo.
When your presence alone just erases the opponent's hope before you even make your move.
And this isn't us saying it. This isn't just, hype from the media, this feeling of dread. It's the consensus among the absolute highest tier of NBA royalty.
The guys who have seen it all.
The guys who have spent their entire careers trying to create this kind of offensive greatness or trying to stop it. And when they talk about Luka, it's fascinating. The conversation shifts from strategy to just pure frustration.
And the quotes are just, they're immediate, they're dramatic, and frankly, they should be terrifying for every other team in the league.
Let's start with the biggest one, the king.
LeBron James, a guy who's basically been a supercomputer of offensive geometry for 2 decades. After a game where Luka just dissected his team, he summed it up perfectly. He just said, there's no blueprint, you just pray.
Just think about that word, pray.
Yeah.
Not strategize, not trap him, not force him left. It's surrender. It's an admission from one of the smartest players ever that tactics have failed.
And then you layer on top of that what Kevin Durant said. KD, a 7-foot scoring machine, his whole existence is about creating unguardable shots.
Right.
And even he just sort of shakes his head and says, he's playing chess while we're playing checkers.
Which speaks to a whole different level of processing. It's not just a skill advantage, it's a cognitive one. He's thinking on a plane that other players can't even access.
He really is. And maybe the most important testimony, the one that carries so much weight, comes from the guy who kind of invented the modern European superstar.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk, who was 7 feet of offensive impossibility himself. But he looks at Luka, his successor, and he just admits he's me on steroids. With vision.
Can you get higher praise than that? The greatest player in your franchise's history doesn't just pass the torch. He says you're a fundamentally better, more evolved version of himself.
It's incredible, and that really sets the stage for our mission today. We are going to rip the curtain off the cold, hard truth of Luka's offensive dominance.
We're going to break down exactly what LeBron and KD and Dirk are seeing. The layers that make him this tactical, physical, and psychological weapon.
Our goal is that the next time you watch a Mavericks game, you don't just see a great player scoring. You see the geometry of his attack. You see a force of nature that the league to this day has absolutely no answer for.
And to understand the art, you have to start with the canvas. And for Luka, that's 2 fundamental physical traits that set up everything else. His tempo control and his brute force.
The very first weapon, the one that kind of disarms you before the real fight even begins, is what people call Luka time.
Yes.
This is where all the deception starts. It's not about being fast or being slow. It's the fact that he completely, and I mean completely, dictates the speed of the game.
It's absolute tempo dictation. It's hypnotic, almost. You'll see him bring the ball up the court, and he looks, almost bored.
Yeah, like he's just out for a stroll.
Exactly. And that look is so lethal because it lulls the defense into this false rhythm. They mentally and physically relax into his pace, thinking, okay, here comes a slow, deliberate set.
And that's the trap. That is the entire trap, because you, the defender, you're now comfortable. You've matched his pace, you've set your feet, and then, with no warning,
boom, an explosion. That casual walk instantly shifts to a burst of speed, and that subtle change, that's all he needs. That's the separation for the step back, or the first step to initiate contact on a drive. It's the changeup that gets you.
What's so wild is that he doesn't have to be, John Morant fast. He doesn't have that top-end gear.
He doesn't need it.
He just needs to be faster than he was a half second ago. He's weaponizing the micro shift in pace. If a defender tries to press up on him to anticipate that burst,
he just stays in that lower gear. He uses his size. absorbs the contact, and lets the defender's own aggression take them out of the play. It's genius.
And this isn't just our interpretation. The sources we have confirm this from the league's best defenders. I mean, you take Kawhi Leonard,
The Terminator.
the defensive Terminator himself. He's built on timing, on disrupting rhythm. And after facing Luka in that 2020 bubble series, Kawhi just said it plainly. You can't speed him up. You can't slow him down. He dictates everything.
And that quote is so important because Kawhi's entire defensive identity is imposing his will, his pace on the offensive player.
Right.
So for him to admit he can't alter Luka's rhythm,
Yeah.
it's like he's admitting that Luka is holding all the controls. He's the conductor with what our sources called a nuclear baton.
So if that's the mental side of it, the pace, let's talk about the physical enforcement, because that tempo control doesn't mean anything if you can just get knocked off your spot.
Which you can't.
You cannot. We have to talk about how his size and strength just completely eliminate basic defensive principles.
And numbers are the starting point, right? 6'7", a rock-solid 230 pounds. This isn't the frame of a jump shooter. This is, as our sources put it, someone built like a tight end.
He's got that wide base, that low center of gravity. He is, and I love this term, weaponized big.
That's it. Because traditional defense is all about disruption. You bump a guy, you nudge him off his path, you force him to a worse angle.
But against Luka, that whole strategy just, it falls apart. When he decides to drive or post up, he's not trying to get around you with finesse. He's using physics. He is a freight train that you just cannot move.
And this is perfectly illustrated by maybe one of the most incredible quotes I've ever heard from a defender, and it involves Rudy Gobert.
We're talking 7'1", 270 pounds, multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards. He's a monolith in the paint.
He is the paint. And yet, after a game where Luka just backed him down on a key possession, Gobert just admitted it. He said, Luka moved me like I'm a cone.
A cone, a plastic training object.
The best interior defender of his generation, whose entire job is to move people, felt like he was just a minor inconvenience, not even an obstacle.
That tells you everything. His strength fundamentally changes how you have to play defense. He posts up smaller guards, he backs down stronger forwards, and he bullies the biggest, most decorated centers in the league. Doesn't matter.
And the impact is just layered so perfectly. A quick guard switches onto him, okay? He'll just post him up, use his strength, and shoot right over the top.
Easy.
A slower, bigger center switches on him. Okay, now he uses that pace control we just talked about, hits him with a hesitation, and blows right by him. His size removes any safety net a defense thinks it has with switching.
But let's bring in a critical point here, because this is a deep dive. If he's 6'7", 230, built like a tight end, why do we always hear critics talking about his conditioning? Doesn't that strength, fade late in games?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of the trade-off. And yes, the critics, especially during the regular season, they'll point to his conditioning because carrying that frame with his insane usage rate, it demands incredible stamina.
So what's the counter?
The sources suggest his efficiency doesn't really drop, even if his visible effort does. He counteracts fatigue with intelligence. He doesn't waste energy on plays that don't matter.
So it's energy management.
It's perfect energy management. When he feels his energy dip, he stops trying to, explode to the rim on every play. He transitions, he'll slow it down, he'll leverage his strength in the post, which takes less explosive energy, and he'll rely more on his vision.
So posting up a smaller guard is his version of taking a play off.
Exactly. But the result is still a high percentage shot. He's using his brain to make his physical gifts last for 38 minutes. It's a strategic use of physics.
So we have the foundation, right? He controls the tempo, and he has the brute force to make sure nobody else can. Before we get into the actual skills, I want to ask you, the listener, to think about this for a second. Which of those two things, the slippery pace control that drove Kawhi crazy, or the raw physical size that made Gobert feel like a cone, which one do you think is more frustrating for an NBA player trying to guard him? The mental game or the physical reality?
It's the combination that's just so devastating. The slow, deceptive walk paired with the fact that you can't physically do anything about it. It just sets the stage perfectly for all the technical skills to come.
The artistry.
The artistry that just exploits every single mistake the defense makes. We have to move from the physical gifts to the skills he honed over in Europe. The technical deception that lets him create something out of absolutely nothing.
And we have to start with his footwork, because it is, without a doubt, Hall of Fame level footwork.
And we have to correct a narrative here. People always say it's good for a big guy. No, that's not it. The sources are clear on this. This is elite, high-level foundational guard footwork. It just happens to be in a power forward's body.
And that combination is what breaks a defender's brain. He's using moves you expect from a smaller, quicker player, the quick taps, the little shuffles, the reverse pivots. But he's doing it with the force and the length of a big man.
The repertoire itself is just staggering. You've got the hesitations, the long Euro steps that cover half the paint, the tight spins, the pump fakes.
The sources specifically mention the James Harden shuffle, but smoother. Let's break that down because that move is so effective with his size.
Right, so Harden used that step back to create a ton of space, but he often did it with, a certain physicality, the gathered steps. Luka does it with less obvious effort. It's all deception.
How so?
His feet don't just move, they lie. Our sources say his feet lie better than most players' mouths. They tell the defender a false story, a little hesitation, a jab step. It forces the defender to load their weight onto the wrong foot just for a millisecond.
And that's all he needs.
That's it. That split second where you're off balance, he pushes off, steps back, and because he's 6'7" with a high release, that's not just space, it's safe space. It's a clean look every time.
And the ultimate proof of this is the story about Paul George.
An elite defender.
8-time all-defensive team, a guy who studies film, knows every tendency, and even he just threw his hands up after a game and admitted, I studied the film, I knew the move, and I still fell.
That is the definition of unguardable. When preparation, film study, and elite physical talent all fail against a single move.
You're just dealing with something else entirely. He knew the combo was coming, the hezi, the step back, and he was still helpless. The execution is just too perfect.
And that's the whole function of the footwork, right? Is to create space where the defense is designed to have none. It forces you to commit, and the second you do, he's gone the other way.
And once he's created that little bit of space, he uses it with his other terrifying weapon, his vision, his passing.
And it's not just seeing the open man. That's basic point guard play. It's see the passing lane before it even opens.
The sources describe it as playing NBA 2K with the overhead camera. And that analogy is perfect because it suggests he's operating from a perspective that other players on the floor just don't have.
A normal point guard might see one or two options. Luka is seeing the entire court, all 9 other players, and he's seeing their next rotation 2 steps ahead of time.
The passes he makes prove it. He's throwing cross-court passes for corner threes through like 3 defenders. He's threading these perfect lobs over the top of the help defense.
And these aren't risky, hopeful passes. They are calculated lasers that just break the geometry of a defense.
His own coach, Jason Kidd, one of the greatest passers ever, he validated it. Kidd said, I thought I saw the floor. Luka sees the future.
Again, just like with Dirk, the master is admitting that the student is on a completely different level. He's not just reacting, he's anticipating. He's delivering the ball to where the defense is going to be weak.
Let's dig into that a little. A lot of his best passes come because of his scoring gravity, right?
Absolutely. He'll drive into the lane, forcing the big man to step up and help. But he knows that help is coming before the big man even decides to commit.
So he baits the help.
He baits the help perfectly. He gives a little burst to draw the defender in, and then whips a no-look pass to the rolling big man for an easy dunk. It's a symphony of manipulation.
The stats back it up, too. A playoff game where he had 17 assists. 17. In the playoffs where defenses are designed to make anyone but him beat you.
It made defenders literally swear he had eyes in the back of his head. He's not just a scorer who passes, he's a complete offensive hub.
So think about how those two skills work together. The footwork forces the defense to react, to help, to rotate.
Which creates an opening.
And the vision immediately exploits that opening. It's a closed-loop system of impossibility. If you stay home on him, he scores. If you help, he finds the open guy.
So let's go back to that question for the listener and add this layer. Which makes a defender feel more helpless? Is it the footwork, where you fall for a fake you knew was coming? Or is it the vision, where you watch him thread a pass through a lane you thought was completely sealed off?
I think it's the vision. Because falling for a fake is a personal failure, but when he makes one of those passes, it means your entire team's strategy just failed. He beat all 5 of you. That's demoralizing.
That is a great point. And that feeling of helplessness, that's what makes him a cheat code. But these are just the tools. Now we have to talk about the arsenal itself, the actual scoring moves.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, pace, and strength. We've got the tools, footwork, and vision. Now let's get into the catalog. The specific ways he scores that make him so dominant.
And the number one thing to understand about Luka as a scorer is that he is completely self-sufficient.
He doesn't need anything.
Nothing. No screens, no complex plays. He creates the advantage all by himself, using the skills we've already laid out.
And he does it with a bag, as they say, that is just, it feels unfair. The sources list it all. The step back, the sidestep, the leaner, the fadeaway.
It's like he has the complete offensive packages of several different Hall of Famers all at once. You're guarding Harden's step back, Dirk's fadeaway, and LeBron's driving power in the same player.
Which puts the defense in that classic pick your poison situation.
And Devin Booker said it best.
Yeah.
After Luka dropped 50 on his team, Booker just laid it out. You double him, he passes. You single him, he scores. Pick your poison.
That's a defender's existential crisis right there. A Booker is admitting there is no correct answer. There's no right way to play it. If you follow the scouting report and double him, he beats you with a pass. If you decide to challenge him one-on-one, his skill and size are just too much.
Let's focus on one part of that arsenal that really leans on his strength.
Yeah.
His post-game, which according to the sources, he plays with swagger.
It's such a throwback, right? Most high-usage guards these days, they live on the perimeter, but Luka loves going down to the block.
And he's a master down there. He uses that 230-pound frame, that wide base. He backs you down slowly. It's Luka time, even in the post. And he's just reading you. He's feeling which way you're leaning, where the help is coming from.
And he has a counter for everything. If you overplay the baseline spin, he'll pivot back to the middle and hit you with a face-up jumper.
If you try to hold your ground, he'll use a drop step and finish with a reverse layup. The sources say he can just rise up over defenders like they are a folding chair.
Just an afterthought.
The craft is just incredible. It's something you expect from a true center, not a primary ball handler.
And the ultimate praise for his postgame comes from the current master himself, Nikola Jokić.
The gold standard.
Two-time MVP, the best passing big man ever. And after watching Luka's historic 60-21-10 game, Jokić just said, "Luka is doing what I do, but with more swagger."
Which is almost like European blasphemy, right? But it highlights a key psychological point. Jokic's post-work is surgical, almost quiet. Luka's is loud. It's flashy. It's designed not just to score, but to demoralize you while he's doing it.
But maybe the biggest, most consistent headache he gives defenses is his mastery of the pick and roll. This is where everything comes together.
It is the ultimate convergence of all his skills. The pace, the vision, the strength, the shooting. It creates what the sources call a video game glitch.
The pick and roll is the most common play in the NBA, and Luka has made every single defensive counter for it basically useless. He's an answer for everything.
Everything. He can reject the screen and go the other way. He can use the screen and snake back across the paint. He can throw a perfect lob. He can hit a floater. He can just throw it back to the screener for an open shot.
And the ultimate validation comes from the professor himself, Chris Paul, a guy who built his entire Hall of Fame career on dissecting defenses with the pick and roll.
And even he had to admit it. He said, I teach this, he owns this.
When the teacher says the student has surpassed him, you know it's over.
So let's do a really deep tactical breakdown here. Let's look at the three main ways you defend a pick and roll and walk through exactly why Luka beats every single one of them.
All right, let's start with the most common one, drop coverage.
So in drop coverage, the defending big man basically sinks back into the paint. The goal is to protect the rim and force the ball handler into a tough mid-range shot.
A shot that most guards aren't efficient enough at to beat you with all game.
Right. But Luka just destroys this coverage. If the big man drops, Luka just uses footwork, gets to the free throw line, and pulls up for his signature step back. And since he shoots nearly 40% from three, giving him a clean look from 20 feet is basically giving up.
So you're conceding his favorite shot. Okay, what about the more aggressive option, the hedge or switching?
Okay, so here, the big man steps out hard to challenge Luka, or they just switch the big onto him. The hope is you disrupt his rhythm, maybe force a bad pass.
And how does Luka beat that?
With his pace control and his vision. If the big man hedges hard, Luka can either split the two defenders with a quick burst of speed, or he can just string it out. If they switch, now he has a slow-footed center on him on the perimeter.
Which is a complete mismatch.
An absolute nightmare for the defense. He just uses his guard skills to blow right by him, which forces the rest of the defense to collapse, and then his passing takes over.
Okay, so that leaves the last-ditch effort, the desperation move, the blitz, the trap.
This is the nuclear option. You send two defenders at him hard, trying to force the ball out of his hands immediately.
And his answer to this is that seeing the future vision we talked about.
Exactly. The second that second defender commits, Luka knows the defense is broken somewhere else. He immediately finds the rolling big man, who now has a 4-on-3 advantage. Or he'll fire a laser to the opposite corner for a wide-open three.
The conclusion is just unavoidable. There is, as the sources say, no right answer. Every single defensive strategy leads to a high percentage look for either Luka or one of his teammates.
It's pure mathematical devastation.
Yeah.
And the sheer volume of his arsenal is key. You take away the step back, he drives. You sag off to stop the drive. He shoots a three. You put a small guy on him. He posts up. It's a constant, unwinnable guessing game for the defense.
We've covered the physical tools, the technical skills, but now we have to get into the mental game. This is what separates the all-time greats, how Luka uses psychology and strategy to just completely manipulate a defense.
He's not just reacting to what the defense gives him. He's actively toying with them. He's, as our sources say, baiting you. He's conducting the chaos. He wants you to rotate a certain way because he's already 2 steps ahead.
A perfect example is how he uses his eyes. He'll be driving to the rim, staring a hole through the basket, making the help defender think he's absolutely going to shoot.
Right, he sells it completely.
And then, at the very last second, with no look, he'll whip a pass to the corner for a three. The defender is left looking foolish, and that frustration carries over to the next play.
The pump fake is another great psychological tool he uses. He knows defenses are terrified of his shot, so he'll give a hard pump fake, draw the double team, and then just calmly find the open man for an easy dunk. He's using your fear against you.
And we have to talk about the more controversial part of his mental game, the foul drawing.
Yes, the smiling after he gets the call. It's a weapon.
It absolutely is. And the veteran coach Doc Rivers, he nailed it. He said, he baits you, he wants you to help, he needs you to help.
What Doc is saying there is that the foul isn't an accident. It's part of the plan. He's not just trying to score. He's trying to get your best players in foul trouble. He's trying to disrupt your entire rotation.
And the smile is the final twist of the knife. It's this silent, cocky confirmation that says, I just outsmarted you and there's nothing you can do about it. It drives opponents crazy.
It's the ultimate display of mental control. And all of this tactical genius translates into just absurd, unarguable numbers.
Numbers that are genuinely historic. I mean, let's start with the 60-20-10 game. 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists.
It had never been done before in the history of the NBA. It's a stat line that shouldn't be possible. It shows he's not just elite at one thing. He's elite at scoring, rebounding, and passing, all at the same time.
And then there's the 73-point game.
Which is just a statement. It's him saying, if you don't send help, if you disrespect me, I can just decide to score 70 points. It shatters a team's ego.
But for me, the most telling numbers are his playoff averages, because that's when the pressure is highest. The sources list them as 33.9 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 9.1 assists per game.
That scoring average, 33.9. That's 4th all time.
But not bad.
He's already in the same sentence as Michael Jordan in terms of playoff scoring. At 25 years old, it's insane.
And people always talk about his volume, but they overlook his efficiency. He's doing this on 47% from the field, 38% from three, and 80% from the line.
That's the 4-7-3-8-80 split. It means he's efficient from everywhere on the court. He's not just chucking shots. He's a walking 30-10-10 threat who shoots at a high clip and gets to the line 10 times a game. It is the literal statistical definition of a cheat code.
And this level of production, of course, brings out the historical comparisons from the legends themselves.
Magic Johnson, the original 6'9" point guard, he put it in perfect context. He said, I was 6'9" with vision. Luke is 6'7" with vision and a 40-foot jumper.
And that's the revolutionary part, right? Magic dominated inside the arc. Luka has all of Magic's tools, but he adds the gravitational pull of a Steph Curry-type shooter, which just completely warps the defense.
And then there's Larry Bird, the original crafty, trash-talking forward. He watched Luka and gave the ultimate competitor's compliment. He said, I'd have loved to play with him or against him. Either way, I'm glad I didn't have to guard him.
I mean, for Larry Bird to say he's glad he didn't have to guard you, that's the mountaintop.
It's an acknowledgement that Luka possesses a combination of tools that just didn't exist in previous eras. The size, the strength, the vision, and that deep, self-created shot. It's a new evolution of offense.
And we should also mention the hater cycle, because even the biggest critics inadvertently prove his dominance.
It's like clockwork. Charles Barkley will go on TV and say, he's too slow, he needs to run. And then Luka goes out and drops 50, proving that pace control beats raw speed.
Or Skip Bayless will scream about his defense, and Luka will respond by averaging a triple-double and carrying his team through a playoff series. The sheer weight of his offense just makes all the criticism irrelevant. He breaks the math.
Which brings us to the experience of actually having to face him, the sheer defensive nightmare. This is where we move from stats to just the raw emotional futility of it all.
The best defenders in the league, the guys who take pride in being stoppers, they talk about it like it's a hopeless task. Drew Holiday, in All Defense Lock, he said guarding Luka is like guarding a video game character with all the badges.
That analogy is so perfect because it means he's not just good at one thing. He has the maxed out badges for shooting, passing, strength, post moves, everything. You're playing against a character that's fundamentally broken by design.
And then you have the cautionary tales. Patrick Beverley, the ultimate agitator, guaranteeing a lockdown before a game.
And then what happens?
He gives up 35 and fouls out. It's this public, embarrassing failure that serves as a warning to everyone else. Do not challenge this guy.
And it's not just the players. The coaches, the best tactical minds, are just as lost. Eric Spoelstra, one of the best coaches of his generation.
A champion.
He admitted he tried everything. Box and one, triangle and two, all these junk defenses you see in high school, and Luka still dropped 40 on him.
When you're forcing an NBA coach to use a box and one, you've already won. It's a sign of complete and utter desperation. It proves that no conventional or even unconventional strategy works.
So this leads to our final question for you, the listener. We've seen all these different defenders fail. The quick guards like Drew, the strong bigs like Gobert, the smart vets like Chris Paul. Who do you think has the absolute hardest time guarding Luka? Is it the small, quick guy, the big, strong guy, or the smart, savvy guy?
It's a fascinating question because he seems to expose every single type of weakness a defender could have.
And the scariest part of all this is the future.
Yeah. We have to keep reminding everyone listening, he is only 25 years old.
He is doing all of this while he should still be in his developmental years. The sources say he's still adding muscle, still refining his jumper. He hasn't even hit his peak yet.
Most 25-year-old superstars are still relying on pure athleticism. Luka is dominating with skill and intelligence, which are things that will only get better with age.
And Dirk Nowitzki gave the final chilling prediction. He knows the career arc of a European legend. He said, I won 1 ring at 33. Luka's on pace for 5 by 30.
It's a prediction of not just dominance, but of a dynasty.
So let's bring it all home. Let's go back to where we started. Tie game. Fourth quarter, Luka has the ball at the logo.
He takes one slow dribble, hits you with that hesitation, throws your timing completely off, then the signature step back, 3 feet of space.
And then the inevitable result. Swish. Ball game.
That's dominance. That's the synthesis of everything. The pace, the power, the skill, the mind games, all in one perfect, unstoppable action.
So we've reached the final synthesis. We've broken down exactly what the legends of the game see when they say Luka Dončić is impossible to stop.
And it leaves us with the big question. Is he already the single best offensive weapon in the entire league? Not top 5, not top 3, number 1.
I mean, think about the combination of skills. He scores at will. He passes like magic. He has the shooting range of Curry. He can post up like Hakeem or Jokić. And he controls the game like LeBron.
It's like he's a creative player with all the best attributes from the history of the game.
There's no counter. There's no antidote. At some point, there's only surrender. You're just forced to watch a game that you have no control over.
The ultimate truth is really simple. He is the future of the league, and the future is happening right now.
But we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. Something that puts his dominance in its true historical context.
Okay, let's hear it.
Considering everything we've talked about, the complete skill set, the physical dominance, the mental game, and the total failure of every defensive strategy thrown at him, is Luka Dončić the most unguardable player since prime Michael Jordan?
Wow. That's a heavy question, and one that really requires you to think about all the layers we've unpacked today.
Yeah.
If this deep dive just rewired how you see the game, make sure you hit that like button.
And we want to hear from you. Comment below with your answer to that question. Is Luka the most unguardable player since MJ? And share this with anyone who still thinks he's just a scorer.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. The Luka era isn't coming. It's here. And it is absolutely impossible to stop. We'll catch you next time.